Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Music of the Week. As always, 6 albums to go through, so let's go through the 6 albums. We begin with somewhat of a returning band, and not the only returning band in this video. We have Bless the Fall with their first album in 7 years, Gallows. This is a metalcore band from Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm giving this one a B-. So first of all, I did quite like the production. It was handled by Hiram Hernandez, and he's known for his clean style of polish, and that's nice and present here, and it's really good at accentuating certain parts of the sound. I don't think it adds a whole ton, but I don't think it takes away anything, and Hernandez is a good producer when he wants to be, and he's often pretty solid. I do enjoy the instrumentation enough. There's a good balance of the melodic and heaviness stuff which you've come to expect from Bless the Fall, but also it doesn't really feel like anything new for them. I think a lot of this album has a lot of the same problems that their last album, Hard Feelings, had, which is yeah, it's a good Bless the Fall album, but not necessarily anything new. That is kind of present in the structure. It's, as I write here, broadly fine. It's got the band's usual trappings. It's just got the typical Bless the Fall trappings and the typical metalcore genre trappings. There's not much variation, but it's got a good enough song flow, I suppose. I sort of like the lyrics. There's a good main theme of trying to overcome self-destructive tendencies. But the writing is a bit cliche in some points. It's not bad, and I think it's got a good theme and good meaning to it, but I don't think there's a lot added to it. I do like the band though. They're still sound great. Bo Bogan is still a great clean vocalist, but I have to highlight Jared Worth. Good bassist as well, but he's always been the strong part of the band because of his unclean vocals. He still screams quite well, and he probably puts in the best shift of work. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have Bless the Fall back at all. I didn't think we were going to get them back, full stop. I do think they're missing something without Matt Trainer being in the band anymore, but the rest of the lineup returned, and they do have a touring drummer, so maybe they make that drummer a full-time member, or bring Matt back. I don't know what's going to happen. And I'm glad that they're making music again for the first time in a long time. I think they might need to shake off some rust, and they still sound as good as ever, but I don't know, maybe a label switch, because this is still on Rise, and the last one was on Rise, and yeah, I don't know, maybe a switch to somewhere else might help them bring a bit more out of themselves. I don't know. Next we go to London, England, which kind of surprised me, for a band named Cult Burial and their new album Glass of Pattern, Reverence of Dust. And I enjoyed quite a bit of this. I'm giving this one a B. I thought this was a good bit of doomy, deathy black metal stuff. It's actually got a really good style mix, but I want to talk about the lyrics first because I couldn't find much for the writing, and yeah, there is a dark theme of all good things just rotting over time and the dread that follows. But it's super basic with that. It doesn't really add a ton of nuance, and it just kind of focuses on being a bit bleak and sad for the sake of being bleak and sad. People know that I'm not a fan of this, and it's something we need less of in this year of all fucking years. I like the instrumentation though. It's got a really good blend of its styles, and the drumming's quite nice. I think that it matches the pacing the best. Speaking of, quite like the pacing. It can sometimes fall into the tropes of the styles it manages to mix together, and it is mostly just oonga boonga sort of heavy, but it's got more than enough complexity in enough areas. It doesn't fully lean into its good ideas for me, but I do think it has enough going for it. I quite like the performances though, and surprisingly, there's only 2 band members, which are instrumentalist Simon Langford and vocalist Cesar Moreira, who is from Portugal. I think Simon is from actual England. But yeah, they work so well together. I'm not going to pick one over the other. I think they both do a great job. And I quite like the production as well. The styles of the production match the styles of the music mixed. And there's some good grit on the sound, which I think adds a lot. I like that it's not completely super polished. It does have enough of an organic feeling. Yeah, it's a pretty good album, and I can recommend it if you just want some really good, dark and miserable heavy stuff. But I don't know. I sort of zoned out and wound up not caring a whole bunch. I don't like this nihilistic feel that that I get from it. And again, this is a year where we need a bit more happiness and hope, so I don't know, I feel like I say that shit every year, but it's kind of true. But I still recommend giving this a go. This is still a band quite early into their career. This is their 3rd album, so they haven't been around super long. So yeah, if you just want some new stuff, new UK stuff that's really good, heavy metally things, I recommend giving this one a go. Next we have an artist who I first heard of through a good old YouTube ad, through his song Blood/Water. This is Grandson and his 3rd album, Inertia. And yeah, I quite like Grandson. He's sort of a alternative rock, rap rock, hip hop sort of guy. I'm giving this one an A+. Holy shit, this might be some of his best written work ever. He's always had like a political lean with a really good focus on this album in particular on like technology going unchecked and systematic oppression, mixed with some really good personal stuff as well from him, you know, and like focusing on things like race relations and the Palestine Gaza like genocide stuff. You know, there's songs that touch on that and like yeah, it's really important, pertinent shit. Anyway, yeah, that's absolutely great writing and puts a really good scope on shit that's really happening. And Grandson himself, great performer. He still sings and raps well, and he even throws in a scream every now and then. And yeah, I think that fits, especially because this is his heaviest album by far. This is probably his most like new metal or at least hard rock feeling album. You know, it's got some really big guitar work and some good beats and trap style things as well, which are a really nice blend. But it is mostly the guitar that stands out. I don't know who played it on the album. It could have been Grandson himself, but yeah, really good shit there. I like how it was handled. And also, by the way, I forgot to mention part of the reason why it's so good is because this is the first album put out through Grandson's own label titled XX, which I think refers to his debut album Death of an Optimist because he's on the cover of that and he's got X's over both eyes. It wasn't produced by him, though. It was produced by Mike Rossi, who still does a good job with the production. It keeps things clean, it brings out a lot in the sound, it has this really natural feeling with really nice little touches to the detail that I quite love. And yeah, quite like the structure. I don't like it as much as everything else, but the main reason is because it's not a really long album. It's 10 songs and 29 minutes and 31 seconds. It's not that long of an album. I think maybe there could have been a couple more songs, or maybe a couple of the pre-existing ones could have been longer, but no, this has that like Linkin Park good trick, I don't for lack of a better term, where it's like it's short but it makes an impact nonetheless, and this is basically that sort of vibe. So if you want to listen to something that rules and really will not take up much of your time, I can wholeheartedly recommend this one. It might be Grandson's best album in my opinion. It's fucking awesome. Next we have a band with their first album in 6 years. We have La Dispute. I don't know if it's pronounced La or La Dispute, but La Dispute, a post-hardcore band from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and their new album, No One Was Driving the Car, and I'm giving this one an A+ as well. I was completely fucking surprised by this one. I enjoy Panorama, that was my first La Dispute album, so I felt like, oh, I've gotten used to their sort of style and sort of sound. This one is, like, it pushes the boundaries. It's, by comparison to the Grandson album I just went over, its longest album with this video, with 1 hour 4 minutes 21 seconds in length. So it's a big chunky boy, first of all, and it was produced by the band, and yeah, quite like the production. I love that you can hear so much detail, it feels very open as well, doesn't overly cover up anything, has this organic and, like, for lack of a better term, lived-in feeling, although I did steal that term from a review I saw, because yeah, a lot of the people actually quite like this album too, and I wholeheartedly agree. I love the structure as well, because the album is quite long, yes, but it doesn't feel it, and has a lot of really great formula changes with no sacrifice to the flow of songs, and there's these really great sort of mood switches, and I like how like sneaky it is, especially when it gets to the end and gets a bit more chaotic and at the same time sure of itself. It's kind of mad how it works. I fucking love the lyrics as well. It's kind of a concept album about the themes of human agency and trying to find meaning in a chaotic world, dealing with like with Grandson's album, a bit with technology and things going out of our control, but like trying to find a way not to keep that control, but to learn to deal with it in a healthy way, which I think is a really good theme and not one that a lot of bands do. Also, fucking love the performances as well. Same lineup as the previous album, which I think helps, but also I have to give lead singer Jordan Dreyer like the MVP award because he belts his fucking heart out in this one. And yes, the whole band are on top form as well, but like Jordan absolutely melts for it. Melts for it? I think he goes for it, yeah, sure. And quite like the instrumentation. There's a real beating heart to the riffs, really good heavy parts. There's more acoustic tracks than the last album, which I wasn't put off by. I actually quite like them. And there's a good focus on being emotive and everything just working together. And yeah, it's just nice to have La Dispute back. This is a potential top 30 maker for me personally. Maybe it's a bit too soon to say that still, but we are in September, so I feel like I'm okay to say the kind of thing. And also, like, if you've missed La Dispute as much as I did, I recommend giving this one a go. Next, we have our second sort of returning band. This is a band called Modern Life is War with their new album Life on the Moon. This is this band's first album in 12 bloody years, and this is typically a hardcore punk sort of band. By the way, I think I forgot to mention, but like La Dispute, sort of like a post-hardcore screamo sort of things with spoken word stuff. Anyway, Modern Life is War, typically a hardcore punk band. I'm giving this one a B+ because this is not really much of a hardcore punk album. So, let's try and unpack this. It's weird, right? It does have punk energy, but there's a lot of like weird ambient parts and like some post kind of stuff. I like the instrumentation. It does have punk elements, but like this is a more of an art rock and soul and post hardcore album. There's a fucking saxophone solo on one of the songs. I think it's on the last song, and it's just a weird album, but it's so much fun. I quite like the lyrics. They've got a really good theme of duality, mostly balancing grief with joy and having really good writing to reflect that. The performances are prop good as well. They have great chemistry, and I will shout out frontman Jeffrey Eaton for having a good singy, screamy sort of feel to him, and he leans more into the sing part, which I actually quite like. Again, the structure has that weird, like, sort of ambient feel with all these things that somehow manage to work together, and the production, it does manage to fit the way it sounds. I'm surprised that manages to make sense of what's going on, even though the production is probably a bit too constrictive at times for my liking, but I like for the most part how it's handled by someone named Brooke Strauss, who I might have gone over before. I'm not too familiar. From what I've seen though, a lot of people didn't like this album, and I will say, if this is your first Modern Life as War album, don't listen to it, because this was my first Modern Life as War album. I haven't gone to listen to the back catalogue, even though I meant to. But I feel like this was the wrong album for me to start on, and yet I still wound up really liking it. So, I don't know, maybe if you just want something that's like weird and odd, but also oddly fun with like a bizarrely entertaining approach and really good performances, I recommend giving this one a spin. It's like if Deftones made a punk album. I compare it a bit to Otherness by Alexisonfire, but like if you wanted to hear what Deftones making a punk album would sort of sound like, maybe give this a go. And finally, to cap it off, we have one of my favourite bands in the modern era. We have Tala with their third album, Primeval Obsession slash Detachment. And yeah, pretty fucking obviously, I'm giving this one an A+. Fucking enjoy this one. I do just want to point out my favourite facts. First of all, performances are great. They bring in new members, Ivan Little on turntables and John McDonald on drums, because Max Portnoy is now the bass player for the band. And they're all great. Everyone else is great. Derek Schneider and Alex Snowden are a really good guitar duo. But I'm mostly talking about frontman Justin Bonnet, who did the vocal take for this album, which is 42 minutes long, in one go. He did the vocal take for 42 minutes fucking straight, 42 minutes and 8 seconds if you want to be pedantic, because that's the official time given by Wikipedia. But he did it in one go. Justin Bonnet is not a human being, and it's doubly impressive considering that he was battling and is sort of battling health concerns, because I feel a bit shitty having to break this news, but he recently broke it himself, so I might be safe. But he did recently discuss the fact that he has HIV. And he did say that there were some things he can't do vocally anymore, like he can't whisper scream, which was one of his best techniques on the previous two albums, and that is not here, obviously. Doesn't mean he can't fucking go, though, because he absolutely still fucking can. I also quite like the lyrics. It's another concept album about two characters who deal with the consequences of having to perform a task put up to them by a shadowy organisation, and they're on an alien planet. Now, I did have a few theories about this, and one of my theories is probably my top 3 favourites, because I have like 5 of them. I'm just going to go through them really quick. Let me scroll down a little bit, because I wrote these down. Okay, so my theories are, they're friends, probably my least favourite one. They're lovers, maybe could have been, but like, again, not really enough connective narrative tissue for that. They're sisters, which turned out to be the correct theory. It's my third favourite one. Not only that, but apparently they're twins. The only reason I know this is because earlier today Justin sort of like did an interview. I only saw like a YouTube short of that interview, but he confirmed that the sisters are twins, so their names are Anna, who is a nurse, and Sheila, who is an assassin. But my other 2 theories I like a bit more, which are that they're clones, or that they're in a time loop, like I Have No Mouth and I'm a Scream style, where they're stuck in like this hell of their own creation. And it's sort of like got Nemesis Blue thing, where they meet like prior versions of themselves and help themselves, but like kill themselves and deal. It's just this whole thing. But yeah, I like that the album deals with the themes of duty and morality, and it's quite strong. And I like that the song titles have like this sort of like mirror effect as well, because like if you just read the song titles, it's just got this mirroring thing. I don't know what else to tell you. Just go find them yourself. I'm not going to put them up on here. I'm too lazy to edit that in. I also kind of enjoy that it's not a horror album focused on being more of a sci-fi, like, outer planet mystery thing with a thriller element, which is quite good. And also, yeah, quite like the structure. It's their weirdest album by a wide margin, with like tons of new styles. These are typically a new metalcore band, and like the riffs reflect that wonderfully with really good heavy stuff. More guitar styles, which I quite like, but also more acoustic guitar work and more of a hip hop vibe and like traditional nu metal thing. But yeah, that really fits in with the pacing and their like manic and weird ass energy. And yeah, production's great as well. It was done by Josh Schroeder, not Joel Schroeder, Josh Schroeder, who's produced the band's previous two albums. He's fucking brilliant with them. It was also co-produced by Max Portnoy, which probably explains why there's more of an emphasis on bass work on this album. I'm not saying anything, but also I quite like the bass work. I bumped my finger off the table, keeping that in. Fuck it. I quite like the bass work. Yeah, I fucking love everything about this, and I love everything about this band, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. Just like if you're a Tala fan, if you want them to do like another concept album, which they did here, even though it wasn't meant to be one, and sort of unintentionally became one when Justin started writing around the time he found out he had HIV. Like that adds a quite again my finger bumped off the table. That adds staying that in, that staying in. That adds quite a lot of story context to it, for my opinion, and I quite like how it does. So again, if you like Tala, like I fucking love Tala, go listen to this. You won't regret it. Next is favourite album cover and favourite song, and I would say that they both go to the same one, which is Grandsons. I like the cover a lot because it looks like the two people on the cover are jumping like towards each other, but if you look at the ground, you'll see that the shadows are not interconnecting, but there's a good framing of the photo, and I just like how it looks. It's nice and subversive. There were some really good covers this past weekend too, except for the Modern Life is War one. That was a strange cover. I don't know why they went with that direction, but also, yeah, my favourite song is from this album, that being titled You Made Me This Way. It's got the best lyrics. It's a very personal feeling song for Grandson. A really good chorus, solid pacing, and yeah, it's one of Grandson's heaviest songs, I would say. It's really fucking good. And for next week's listening list, these are the following albums which I have planned. Obviously, as always, subject to change. We have Between the Buried and Me with The Blue Nowhere, Dance Gavin Dance with Pantheon, Liquid Mike with Hell is an Airport, Lorna Shore with I Feel the Ever Black Festering Within Me, Shame with Cutthroat, I'm kind of looking forward to that one, and Starset with Silos. That'll about it for me. Next thing you'll see for will be the Go Home show tomorrow night for Reverence. I still need to get a logo pitched in so I can make an arena for that. Like, I love EFED stuff to ask for in general. But yeah, you'll see me for that, and then also on Saturday night for my next Let's Play streaming, which will be Citizen Sleeper, because the Yakuza Like a Dragon thing is all done, it's all recorded, it's all edited, I just need to start scheduling it, which I'll start doing probably around the time you're watching this video. So, yeah, I'll see you all for that, and as always, I told it too much. Thank you for watching, you're awesome, bye bye.